Welcome back everyone to the Two-Headed Wolf gaming channel, Last Epoch, and of course our Runemaster. Another one of those classes which I would definitely recommend that you try out even as a first experience, or especially as a first experience, because it's really cool to play with. There's a lot of DPS behind it, so you won't really have to worry about enemies dying. There's no grind like it was yesterday, with at least with the build idea that we went for cold damage and freezing enemies so that we can instant kill them. A bit different than the playstyle. There's all these combinations of runes which give you a huge amount of damage. As you can see there, 2500 when disintegration is doing 1500. That's a difference. If we're thinking about the normal attack, for example, like Lightning Blast, that's 272. So definitely a lot of power behind this class. And this will be the last episode that we're gonna do for this particular run, because I feel like we've seen, or we're gonna see today, everything that there is to see about this class for early game, right? Early to mid game. And I wanna leave enough stuff for you to discover from here on out, at least until we've gone through all of the classes. Then I'm gonna return to many of these and we're gonna try out endgame with plenty of them. Whew. Either way, I'm way too excited with this one. It has been a lot of fun to play with it, so there we have it. As far as gear goes, I have three things which I want to show off. First of all, we've seen this ring before, the Sunray. Unique ruby ring, giving us 37% fire resistance, 33% increased fire damage. Then we have 4 modifiers out of 5 which don't help us, 46% chance to ignite on melee hit. Flame Reeve hits enemies in an expanding circle around us, plus 10 to Flame Reeve mana cost and plus 14 melee fire damage. We're not using Flame Reeve, it's not part of our skill set, and melee damage, whether it is fire or anything else, is not something that we do. The only bonus that we're getting here out of this entire ring is 37% fire resistance, and I love that. And more importantly, 33% increased fire damage and 78% increased fire damage over time. Both of these are good. It's going to increase our disintegration because it's doing lightning and fire damage, right? And it's also increasing the damage we do with Flame Rush. It's also adding up to some of these combinations whenever it is about applying fire damage or, in this situation, igniting enemies, which is damage over time. So this is going to help us a lot. You can see there it has a note with 1 legendary potential. Towards the end game, I don't know at what point, but I know about this concept. Towards the end of the game, you can take a pair of normal equipment, for example, or something else, and you can combine it with this ring, because it has 1 legendary potential and it can have a maximum of 4. This ring will absorb at random one of the modifiers of the item that you've added it with. So if we're looking, for example, we have the equipped ring here to the left. If we were to combine these two, if I understand this correctly, if we were to combine these two, then our Sunrave would absorb either 80% increased mana regeneration, 90% increased physical damage, 6% increased health regeneration, plus 13 physical resistance. One of those would be added to this particular ring, making it a really powerful early game item, right? You could, if I could throw in a bunch more modifiers which give us spell damage and fire damage to this ring, that would be a great leveling item. So that's what this is about. Either way, we're gonna throw it here. So you can see we're getting from 1500, about 1500 to 1700. That's pretty good. And then I have this one here, Lunar Grand Glass Idol of Electromancy, 17 mana and 22% increased lightning damage, doubled if you have over 300 mana. We don't, but I am going to replace this one with a chance to shock and lightning resistance. That gives us a bit more, about 40-50 extra damage. Not the craziest thing in the world, but hey, at least it's something. And then I have this stuff, which gives us plus 8 to spell damage, 63% increased lightning damage, and then we have a bunch of melee modifiers, which is a bit unfortunate, but what can you do? Either way, we're gonna move from almost 1800 here to 2200. So that is really good there. What I want to do is that I want to go here, and I actually want to modify this further. And let's see, I am thinking, let's look at suffixes. Chance to blind, chance to chill, no, ignite, poison. I don't want any of these. Help on kill might be good. Stun chance might also be good. But let's start by increasing the lightning damage a few times. Okay, there's still some forging potential. We cannot increase this any further. What I am going to do is that I'm going to get... Let's get some help on kill. Okay, we've upgraded the tier and we got an extra bonus there. There's still 4 potential. We can try to do a bit of stun, but that is not going to be good enough. At least for this level, I don't think it's going to work. Okay, we moved it to 2300 and there we have it. That's as far as gear goes. Let's go into our passives here. Let's see, the new skill, Transcendence. You passively gain ward over time and the amount of ward is tripled if you have at least 60 intelligence. Oh yeah, I remember this one. Circle of Elements, giving us shock chance with lightning skill and ignite chance with fire skills. We will need to invest in this. I think that for the moment, I might want to throw a point in here to passively generate word per second. Yeah, we're gonna go with 1 point in each of these. A bit of word is not bad. And then I'm gonna go with a bit more spell damage. We gain Frost Wall, creates a wall of frost, which persists for 6 seconds. Okay, we don't care about Frost Wall, so we're not gonna look at it anymore. Edict of the Scion. Your area skills have increased area. We're not really using them, so we don't care. While using a catalyst, you have additional intelligence and take reduced bonus damage from critical strikes. That would be great. A catalyst would be our offhand, right? I believe that if we're going with one-handed, instead of a shield, there's a thing that's called a catalyst. I'll show it to you once we are in the game, or once we find one. But we're not using it, we have a two-handed staff, so I don't think that that's going to work for us. Dispel damage, so Nimbus Wall, dispel damage and crit chance from the Never Laid node now also apply to traversal skills and gain ward when you use a traversal skill. A lot of defensive capability. However, it's not exactly what I want. We need to invest 6 points here to get that ward per second plus 12. So let's do that. Let's get some help in the process. We got a new set of skills, inscribed instruments. You have additional critical strike multiplier while using a wand, additional ward retention using a scepter, and increased cast speed while using a staff. We don't need increased cast speed, to be honest. I mean, we're channeling an attack, so cast speed doesn't matter too much. Increased damage over time, interesting. Rune of Dilation, after using traversal skills, you gain increased cast speed and movement speed for a short duration. Sorry about that, had to sneeze. I'm not sure I care about that. I think I'm just gonna go like this. We're just gonna go with more damage, straight up damage. I didn't think that that's what I would do, but there we go. I am feeling very confident about what we're doing right now with this build, where I don't feel like I have to go more than this. We could go further with damage, as we're now looking at the active skills and we're looking at Disintegrate. We said that this one, Disintegrate, deals significantly more damage but has a delay before casting. This delay is reduced by increased cast speed. And we are now at 0.5 delay before casting. I'm gonna try it out. I might hate it, but I am going to try it out. Disintegrate has a chance to slow enemies caught within the beam. Let's do a bit of that as well. I feel like that would be great. While channeling Disintegrate, you have the Lucomancy buff, which grants increased damage and reduces all mana cost, including Disintegrate's channel cost. Yeah, more damage and reduce. How much do we need to invest in slow? 2? Yes. Okay, that is actually... We are now at 20 channel cost, So reducing that even further would be great for us. We're doing 3600 damage at this moment. That is crazy. Okay, now let's see what else. Flame Rush, what are we going to invest into? Reduce the damage taken, that could be very good for us, to be honest. I'm not gonna go with Epilogue. At the end of the day, the runes spells that I'm casting, I like to have control over the ones that I'm doing, and I'm even going to show you what I've been mostly using. We should gain a bit of word per second, that could be great. Flame Rush now casts Volcanic Orb that is attached to you and only detonates when you end Flame Rush alongside any other Volcanic Orbs. This effect consumes mana equal to a portion of the Volcanic Orb's mana cost. Okay, that could work. Flame Rush deals more damage per 40 current mana. And at 40 current mana we gain only 1%. That is not great. I guess I'm gonna make it really efficient here in mana efficiency. Get reduced recovery speed, double effects with 100% uncapped fire res. Let's reduce the damage taken in that situation. All buff effects from the Flame Rush tree persist afterwards for a portion of the time equal to the duration you spend in Flame Rush. Sure, let's invest in that. I don't feel like investing in anything else, to be honest. I don't really want to go a whole lot. Maybe this is the right side is where we're going to go next with speed and range and damage and area probably. And now Runic Invocation, something which I specialized in at the end of the last episode, but we haven't looked around. We can either gain some words per point invested and mana refunded 10% when we're casting one of these, and we'll do a bit of that. Maybe we can even go with something like 40%. Yeah, mana refunded 40%. That's pretty good. Elemental penetration per free intelligence 1%. That could be really good. Cast speed, current mana gained as ward. I like that. Increase mana regeneration or word gain or freeze rain multiplier depending on what rune we have. I like mana regeneration. I am going to go with it. Directly casting a Runic Invocation now refunds its mana cost and it deals more damage, but it now has a cooldown when cast this way. 12 seconds. I'm not casting them all the time, so that is probably one way in which we could actually do it. Damage per rune consumed. Yeah, too many directions to go into, and what I want from the rune is nothing too crazy. Current mana gain as ward afterwards. Let's get a bit more of these, either mana regeneration or ward per second, depending on the runes that we have, since I run with runes on me most of the time and rarely cast the skills. Only when I truly need them. And then we can get a bit more cast speed and current mana gained as ward. I like that idea, and we have one more point. Area for area invocations, elemental penetration in area, or ignite chance with the invocation that includes at least one aura rune have a chance to ignite enemies and deal additional fire spell damage. Let's get the elemental penetration per free intelligence. And there we have it. We spent a lot of time building this up. But it is good to take a close look at it. Once again, we're really early in the game, we need this now. We're not going to need it in the future. Look at the amount of damage that we're doing. Most of the time I haven't had any kind of troubles with mana generation. As long as there are mobs like this on the battlefield, there's no problem. And that 0.5% delay to cast it is not bad. I mean, look at this. It's working really well, I would say. On bosses, every once in a while I have to go into focus. And I really feel like it's a good idea to probably specialize in it, like getting a high amount of mana generation at times feels necessary, as there are certain enemies which are super tanky, and whenever you have to stop and do mana regeneration in order to take them down, I feel like it becomes more and more dangerous with further into the game that I've got. So I am thinking that maybe in the future, when we get the, to the point of the end game, some bosses might not be as forgiving as some of these early games. Okay. Here we have a boss. Let's take care of him. Let's do a rune here. One of the things which I really like to do, like let's get some regeneration. I am using this flame rush. So I hold still, and now we're getting enough for us to do Airgun Greater Fireball. I really like this attack. It also does the fire spread, which we've seen in the first day when we played the Mage, when we played the Sorcerer. The fire spread was really amazing, and that Greater Fireball has that effect. And it can be really strong, especially when you're encountering mobs. But as you can see, I am getting a lot of mana. The point is to avoid damage every once in a while and then just team up the boss. It's really not a problem. We had no problem with the bosses. I think I have died once with this character, maybe? I have a feeling I have died once, but that was it. Even though I haven't invested in defense at all, in comparison to the other mages I've built, this one doesn't have anything.
I'll take that as a yes.
Or actually no, it didn't have anything, it doesn't have anything over here. In the mage part, right, I went with fire resistances, but I didn't gain extra health, I didn't stack armor on the character, nor dodge. Now lately I've picked up the word generation. That's why now we have 156 word.
These
Yeah,
robes are not meant for swimming.
because we've picked up this
I'll be
one here,
soaked for
right?
hours.
Word per second, and there are a few other skills which give us word. Not forget to talk to this guy. This is the only thing which
I'll only slow you down.
I feel, once again, it's in comparison to Path of Exile. When in comparison to Path of Exile, having to talk to certain people before moving on, I really feel like it's breaking the flow. After playing with so many characters, I really don't need to talk to characters in the game, and have to. Otherwise, I have to go all the way back, talk to that guy, and I don't know, it just feels like one of those things. It becomes an annoyance, I think, if you forget more. Is that the biggest thing in the world? No, of course not. But just as a feel. Okay, we encountered the mage. Let's try it out. Let's see what we can do here. How quickly we can kill this one. Mages are a bit tougher. Not as easy to kill them. They're like bosses pretty much. But they make me run out of mana a lot of times, and some of their attacks, depending on what skills they start with, because even these mages are different from one another, depending on what skills they start with, they can be a threat, they can represent a threat. One of the things which I've seen is that Disintegrate doesn't seem to apply any criticals. I had shrines which gave me 100% critical strike chance. I've seen it with certain skills. It doesn't apply to Disintegrate apparently. And I have I've tried all sorts of modifiers and it doesn't seem to add up to disintegrate. I don't know if it's one of those things where it just doesn't work with it, with the way the skill functions being channeled. Maybe that is the case. But either way, I think the skill needs a bit more information. But don't expect it to go criticals, stack up with criticals, and it does. And I don't think I've done anything wrong with it. Let's say that I not put on the right equipment. That was my first theory, that somehow I don't understand the passive skill tree, or maybe I don't understand the item descriptions, things like that. However, when you are picking up shrines which ensure that you're doing critical strikes, and I'm doing critical strikes with all of the attacks which I have on my skill bar, but I'm not doing criticals with disintegrate, then it's clear that it doesn't work.
Fools.
It needs a lot of investment to go on this side. I would really love to see disintegrate at tier 2. But we would have to invest 3 points over here. This would provide us with an ignite chance. Range, I don't need a bigger range. Flame energy builds up on enemies within the beam, causing an explosion that deals fire damage around them for 5 seconds of taking damage. Sure. I don't know how that will work and when will that work. We're trying it. Nice. Level 35. What do I want? More damage. I love that explosion. More poison damage. No, I'm really looking. I'll probably, whenever I return to this class, I'll probably just change the filter to show me on the two-handed staff. I would throw in anything that has to do with lightning, anything that has to do with fire as well as a modifier. In a way, after playing this game for quite a few hours now, I am starting to figure out what I want from gear, depending on the character. I haven't looked up how to build a good filter from other people, but I am starting to realize I just don't need it that much. And in playing the game, made me realize what I need from gear. Like, if I had to sit down and think, okay, what do I need to throw in this loot filter, I could definitely come up with something a bit more personalized than what I have done in the first episodes, or even what I have now, because I am running a very basic filter. As you can see, once I've gone through the game, once I'm around level 10 or 12 or something like that, I'm just hiding all normal items. And now I shouldn't do that, because there's a lot of normal items with a huge crafting potential. I can probably look at items and have them show me certain items with a high crafting potential. That's probably a thing that I can see in the loot filter. But there's also, this is something that I want because I am hiding everything that doesn't have to do with the class which I'm currently playing. But I do want to see unique, set, and exalted, so that's why these two conditions are here. And finally, I changed the weapon. Right now I have show two-handed staff, but that I change around a lot depending on the character that I'm playing and of course the weapon that it has. Overall, this is great. This is great play. This isn't a great beam. I don't know why it is so satisfying. I think it might just be the amount of control that you have over it and the power. Control and power. And once you figure out your mana generation, either by reducing its cost or getting a bit more, you know, getting that 7 mana on kill, that is probably one of the best choices that you can have. But running with this as the primary skill is definitely great. And also this one. And once you're done with this and you want to burn a lot of enemies, you just get 3 of these fire runes, and then you do this. Then you can run away and do a lot of things once again. And that's it. That's all there is to this build. And I don't have the best gear in place for this level either. If I had to say what skills you should be throwing in on your character, I would say keep some sort of mana generation. I like focus, and you can even specialize in focus, because it's very quick. It gives you that burst of 40 mana whenever you are waiting or channeling for 1 second. And I'm guessing that if you find items within the game which add to channel, I don't know, provide certain benefits to channeling skills, that is going to be great for you, because disintegration, flame rush, and focus is a channeled skill. That could be great. I would also recommend that you keep flame ward on your bar. I've seen it be useful, or I've used it in many situations and dangerous situations where certain enemies were really tough. Like, just go put that shield up, 400 ward, going to help you survive in most cases. It helped me, so I am sure it's going to help you as well. Let me go with epilogue. We don't have a whole lot more out of this episode. Let's get that automatic rune cast whenever we are done with this. But even though I can do that, I guess there are certain spells which would be worth having them autocast, but the downside for doing this on Flame Rush is that it's very difficult to aim. That's why I don't really feel like it's worth doing it like this. Right? Like that fireball just exploded at the end of this skill right here, whenever I could have thrown it in the middle of enemies. So that is the only thing where I've changed my opinion. I ended the last episode thinking that that's what I'm going to pick. That's what felt good to me, because I can cast a lot more often these rune attacks. However, it's not as exciting as it sounds. Not being able to aim your skills is not useful. Most of the time you'll just trigger them in the open space, far away from anything. What else do we want to pick here? What did we say? This could be getting 100% mana refund. That could be something. Faster rune gain while channeling and ward gain per 10 max mana. Sure, we can do a bit of that.
Fools.
I mean, it sounds good to me. We're doing a lot of channeling, so getting runes quicker should help. Probably going to help even when we're doing the flame rush thing. Imperial Staff, two-handed weapon. Okay, some forging potential. Maybe we can make it into something good. Over on this side, I wouldn't want to go with anything except for damage, and we're ending on 3700. We started, remember, we started on 1500 damage. And now we're at 3,800 when we're channeling. If I put up the shield, no, it's not multiplying anything. But yeah, pretty good character, pretty good build overall. The mastery feels great. We've just made a channel build, and I don't think I'm not sure about tomorrow, but at the latest, the day after tomorrow, we're gonna return with the druid. I'm really looking forward to that one as well. It's it's going to be an experience. The druid is the very first class I ever played in Diablo 2, and I have an affinity and a love for the character, the idea. I think it's one of those things where it's just nostalgia. And I played the druid in Diablo 4 for the very first time on release.
Now, the hey now.
Let
I've
me
seen
just tell
how
you
you
this before you laugh. You have to hear it all. I've recorded episodes with the druid, Diablo 4, on release, posted it on the channel, and I've done 4 hours. And when I look back at the videos, I rewatched them to see how they were. I said to myself, this is boring. This is taking way too long. I mean, people will grow old here watching these videos. I don't want to watch. And I deleted them off the channel. Yeah, that 13 damage meme, totally true. So I'm looking forward to playing a druid in this game because I know it's going to be a whole lot better. So I'll see you then. If you liked it, if you like what I'm doing here, if you like what I'm doing with the series, do consider leaving a like, leave some feedback. Would love to hear it. And if you have build ideas, some of you shared some of them with me, and really nice. Thank you very much for that. I am so curious about more ideas, as I know I'm going to return back to some characters, and I'm hoping I can gain some of your knowledge and actually make something cool and amazing to play. And that's it for today. Until next time, I wish you all to have a wonderful day.